Can't do that.
Jim.
Yes.
Once again, Shopify, please support them. They are wonderful people. I got a bit distracted. We have major breaking news.
Uh-oh.
The Wall Street Journal, in an article by Khadija Safdar.
All right.
The headline, Vince...
What was that? What was left over after the Scrabble game was over with? What is...
The headline, Vince McMahon accused of sex trafficking.
What?
By WWE staffer he paid to keep quiet.
What?
Janelle Grant files lawsuit saying McMahon pressured her into sex with him and other men at WWE, raising questions about 2022 board probe into CEOs' payouts.
Wait a minute. Now, did you say he pressured her and other men into having sex?
He pressured her into having sex with him and other men.
Oh, okay. He's not the one having the sex with the other men. That'd be a whole different scandal.
A woman who received a payout, and I've sent you this, so you have it in your email right now, Jim. I'm a subscriber to the Wall Street Journal, so I sent you the free link. You can check it out.
You know what? It probably ain't going to let me read it, because every time you do that, it says, you don't subscribe to us. But hold on here.
Jim, you should have it in your inbox right now. Once again, this Wall Street Journal article.
Yes. I do have it in my box, and I'm wondering who else has had it in their box. But a woman who received a payout from WWE boss Vince McMahon has accused McMahon, the company, and a former executive of sex trafficking in a new lawsuit that raises questions about the breadth of an internal company probe conducted by a law firm last year. Apparently, Janelle Grant, a former employee at WWE's headquarters, said in a lawsuit filed Thursday that she was abused and sexually exploited by McMahon while he was chief executive. She alleged that McMahon lured her with promises of career advancement, and then he allegedly exploited her and trafficked her to other men inside the company. Now, before we go any further, sex trafficking, I mean, this is obviously sexual harassment, improper employer-employee relationship, but no, can this be called sex trafficking?
Well, hold on, I just scrolled down. There's a quote here. The suit also includes screenshots of explicit text messages that McMahon sent to Grant. A May 2022 message said, "I'm the only one who owns you and controls who I want to fuck you."
What? Wait, what paragraph is that? I'm trying to... What?
Where's Linda?
Wait. Hold on. I'm... McDevitt said in 2022 that Grant signed a non-disclosure agreement. Apparently, those are not worth the paper that they're written on. In 2022, McMahon agreed to pay $3 million for her not to discuss their relationship or disparage him. And then the WWE received an anonymous tip about the relationship and started the board investigation, which is uncovered. So this is the original. This is patient zero.
Yeah, it wasn't that other woman.
The original woman.
Because remember, we had heard about that other woman who lived in the same apartment complex as Vince, and then he got her a job as a paralegal. A lot of people thought she was the first one that triggered the investigation. It was actually this case.
So the lawsuit, wait a minute. Grant's lawsuit said McMahon stopped making payments under the 2022 deal after the initial $1 million installment. And the suit seeks to void the agreement and unspecified financial damages. So he
Calgary.
He NDA and dashed her.
He bought Stampede and stopped paying. This is what he does. This is the history of him in business. He bought LA and stopped paying Mike LaBelle. He bought this woman's silence and it said, enough. Stop paying her.
So no wonder she's talking, because he's reneged. He owes her $2 million more. So, blah, 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 blah. I'm still not to where you are. They talk about finding $14.6 million in payments by the CEO to women who had accused him. We've heard about that.
The other one, too, she said that Vince had her have sex with John Laurinaitis. Right, that was a different case. That's not this case.
No, the way that it was phrased is that when Vince didn't want to associate with her anymore, that he pawned her off on Johnny. It's like, okay, you know, I'm done here. But wait a minute, hold on here. She alleges, wait a minute. Holy shit, the lawsuit.
Well, what did I miss?
Describes in graphic detail. Well, you skipped to what you thought was the good part, but she alleged that McMahon and another WWE executive locked her in an office in WWE's headquarters in Stamford on June 15, 2021. Specificity is key here. And took turns sexually assaulting her while other staff were working.
Holy shit.
In the middle of another day, 8 days later, McMahon locked Grant inside his private locker room at WWE's offices and forced himself on her over a massage table. And then later that day, McMahon's personal assistant delivered $15,000 in Bloomingdale's gift cards to Grant in her office. I don't know, for 15 grand, it probably didn't last that long. But anyway, the suit also includes screenshots of explicit text messages. Now we get to your line. That was in May 2020. Now, wait a minute. In May 2020, he's telling her, I'm the only one who owns you and controls who I want to fuck you. But in June, a year later, she gets sexually assaulted twice in an 8-day period. And is still there to receive the $15,000 in Bloomingdale's gift cards.
Grant alleged that McMahon shared nude photos and explicit videos of her without consent with other WWE employees, unnamed executives, and stars, and directed her to have sex with them. The suit cited a July 2020 text that said others at WWE wanted to have sex with her after seeing her photos on McMahon's phone, and the group laughed when he told them she may scream and try to say no, although it would be difficult to say anything with a cock down her throat.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This is the Wall Street Journal.
Oh, man, this is in the Wall Street Journal.
Oh, this is old man Vince. This isn't even like young Vince. Young rapey Vince would be bad enough. This is old Vince trying to fit in with someone on text messages.
2 years ago. He was 76, right?
I'll change my look. They'll never know it's me. I'll get a mustache.
Now we go.
I'll dye my hair black.
Go.
Plastic surgery. Botox.
Okie dokie. So, wait a minute. Hold on. Here we go. Now we're tying back to another story. Grant's lawsuit alleged that she met McMahon in March 2019 after an introduction from a manager in her apartment building. McMahon lived in the penthouse of the same building, and Grant was looking for a job after her parents had died. McMahon allegedly made promises of a job at WWE and showered Grant with gifts. During meetings that were supposed to be about the job, he greeted her in his underwear and repeatedly asked for hugs. I've been in meetings with Vince McMahon in hotel rooms, in arenas, in conference rooms, on location, and in his house. And I've yet to see him conduct any meeting with anybody in his underwear.
And by the way, this is the same woman that made that first thing. I was wrong before because I'm reading through this. This is that first accuser.
Yeah. So he's never had a meeting in his underwear. I'm not saying he didn't with her. I'm saying this would be a sign that this is not something that he normally does. I'm thinking that there were clues here. Then he pressured her into sexual activities in return for employment and warned her she's living in a goddamn high-rise apartment building in Stamford, Connecticut. He didn't pick her out from under a cardboard box under the overpass. Why is she desperate?
Oh, my God.
Does it say? What?
He forcefully used sex toys on her, including dildos he named after WWE wrestlers, causing her bruising and bleeding, the suit said.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Here's the Mantor. The powers of pain.
You got to be very unskilled with dildos to cause bruising and bleeding.
The Saba Simba.
Apparently, he didn't go to the proper fucking toy classes. But wait a minute, hold on.
Oh my God, he names his sex toys after wrestlers. That's who we've been dealing with all these years. What a pervert.
Grand Ledge complained. She complained to McMahon and made attempts to end the relationship. Did she quit? Did she say, fuck you, I hate you and everything about you and want to leave here? Okay. He shared nude photos with her with a former UFC heavyweight champion with whom WWE was actively trying to sign to a new contract. Wait a minute.
Well,
this is in the Wall Street Journal in a May. By the way, we've skipped over that, whoever that former UFC champion may have been. In a May 2020 encounter, McMahon defecated on her head during a threesome.
Oh my God. Holy shit. Every paragraph's a new revelation.
Her mental and physical health deteriorated so badly that McMahon sent her in November to a celebrity doctor for sessions at an alternative clinic where she never received any receipts or bills.
Oh my God.
McMahon also paid $20,000 to a surgeon on her behalf.
Let's stop there before we go any further.
Yeah, are you gonna? Well, you just shit on my head while I was blowing Tits McGee over there in the corner. But if you'll give me $20,000 for a surgeon, I'll call it even. What is going on here? How did this get to this point on either side?
Do you think he was defecating because that's a kink of his, or was it just because he's old and he couldn't hold it? Yeah, who means to do that in the middle? Because the other person you have to consider as well. No one wants to get shit all over the place.
What position would he have
shit on her head?
To shit on her head that inadvertently? How would you? I don't know that I've never accidentally shit on anybody's head. McMahon recruited people to have sex with Grant as well. Well, why not at this point? It's like, I can see it. Well, we shit on her head. It didn't scare her off. Including WWE's former head of talent relations, John Laurinaitis, who is named as a defendant in the suit. McMahon directed her to visit Laurinaitis at his hotel rooms where she had sex with Laurinaitis prior to the start of work days. No wonder they never got anything done.
Can you imagine, before the start of the workday in the office, John Laurinaitis would leave home and go to a hotel to meet up with her, and then they would go to the office?
No, ever since he's been happily married to the Bella twins' mother, they live in Florida, right? So they would fly him up there and put him in one of the hotels that they had near the office. So instead of having breakfast from goddamn Denny's delivered, he had breakfast from the office delivered. And boy, I wouldn't want to go. I never wanted to go to the office anyway, much less after that at 7:30 in the morning. But nevertheless,
can you imagine? He's gotten. I mean, any of the stories you hear about Vince in the old days, the bad ones, he got worse with age. I mean, this is incredible.
I don't know who this fucking human being is. If I had said to the Vince McMahon that I knew at his dining room table sometime, even if it was just with him with the guys joshing around, hey Vince, tell a story about that time you shit on that girl's head. He would have thrown me in the fucking pool. I can't imagine that.
How do you recover from that? How do you stay on the board of directors? How do you stay around once people know it's now beyond everything else? And everything else was awful. He paid off someone who accused him of rape. He had all these hush money payments for all the who knows what reasons. This is one person.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Now, it's not just one person. McMahon controlled her professional and personal lives and subjected her to degradation, according to the suit. In the June 2021 encounter, inside the WWE office, the suit said McMahon and Laurinaitis forced themselves on her and took turns restraining her for the other while saying no means yes and take it, bitch.
Holy shit. Was Titan Tower like that when you worked there? Was there any kind of funky shit like this going on?
That you knew of? I missed it. And boy, I would have been looking and sniffing around for things like that back in my younger days. No, this is some new shit for me. This it's
Was
still not
Laurinaitis doing this
over.
with Baba? What the
Maybe
fuck?
that's why that Mrs. Baba like. But no, hold on here. In July 21, McMahon instructed Grant to create personalized sexual content for a WWE superstar that he was trying to re-sign. That was the UFC fighter. So people familiar with the matter, as the Wall Street Journal says, identified that wrestler as Brock Lesnar.
Didn't Brock walk out when Vince got fired the first time?
Yes.
Or not fired, but when Vince all of a sudden announced he resigned.
When he announced he's quitting, then Brock said, well, I'll see you later. A suit said McMahon shared the explicit photos with the star and informed Grant that he likes what he sees. After the star agreed to a new contract, McMahon texted Grant to say that part of the deal was fucking you. Whereupon McMahon gave Grant's personal cell phone number to the WWE star. The lawsuit said the wrestler... Okay, this is in the Wall Street Journal.
This is getting out of control.
The wrestler asked her to send a video of herself urinating, the suit said, and after she did, he called her a bitch. The same month, I would have thanked her first. The same month, the suit said, the star expressed a desire to set a play date, but a snowstorm disrupted his travel plans. In January 2022, the suit said McMahon told Grant that his wife, Linda, had discovered the relationship, and he pressured Grant to sign an NDA in exchange for payments. The CEO warned Grant of reputational ruin that included pornographic content he had of her. He paid her about $1 million in February, and later stopped making the payments.
Hey, do you think that's real? Do you think it really is about Linda discovering? Because she knew he was fucking around and everything. I mean, I assume Linda knew while she was living a separate life in Florida that Vince McMahon, the pervert, was probably doing something over here in the Northeast. Do you think that's the real reason? Or do you think Vince was just trying to get her to sign an NDA knowing that they're trying to sell the company?
It sounds like that, well, this sale is going through, and boy, she might have me over a barrel. We need to clean this up because... he attempted to traffic her to the WWE star in March 2022. She texted the star explicit photos as directed, but they didn't meet. Again, I'm sorry if I upset anybody with this, but if this was a completely unwilling relationship on one side of this thing, there's several key points at this... in this relationship where most people would have said, I've had all I can't stand no more, whether it was the head shitting or the, it sounds like she was enjoying some of the relationship in terms of either financially or otherwise. I don't
It's probably a vicious cycle. Again, I've never been in a situation like this, and either of you, I have to imagine it may be tough to break away.
I've been in situations with people who actually enjoyed at least a few of these activities. I don't know about the head shitting, but it was all a consensual
Taking turns
thing.
of Laurinaitis while the other one restrains her. That's fucked up.
I didn't mention anybody. The concept of these things is not unheard of. The question is, at what point if you are locked in offices against your will and violated against your will by multiple people and forced to send a variety of not just booby shots, but whatever the fuck to other people and blah, 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 is the fucking you're getting worth the fucking you're getting?
Who knew Brock was in the toilet videos? What's that?
Well, the cows and the farm animals up there, they're just willy-nilly with that stuff. But the thing is, again, if it was something that happened and this woman said, I am incensed that you have done this and I'm going to complain to someone, or even if it was over some period of time where there was attempts made at activity like this and it was constantly turned down, and then she was either attacked or she was fired unjustly or what. This is going on for a while, and she appeared to be more than amenable to doing a lot of it. So, but
you can't put the blame on her if any of the really bad shit.
I'm putting the blame on both of them. I'm saying this is because then Vince has a chance to, okay, what do you want to make you feel good and not talk about this anymore? $3 million. Okay, it's $3 million fucking dollars. They just got $5 billion from Netflix. Any stiff, sir? After, my God.
That's such a weird move. Why would you? I mean, again, he did it at the promoters and he got away with it because it was like, what are you going to do? I already won. Do you think that's what it was?
And if it had been a la carte with this lady, do you know what the price of a good three-way head shitting is in fucking Connecticut these days? At $3 million, he probably was still coming out ahead.
See, the thing is, and I hate to try to break down something so disgusting like this, but it says a lot about what it really is. If he defecated on her head without any prior permission, just as like a happy act of degradation.
Just with impunity.
That's one thing. Not giving a shit, that's something you don't do to someone. You just don't do that.
Not giving a shit. It's the exact opposite.
If it was a case of he's an old man who, because he's really rich, is having threesomes when he probably shouldn't be having threesomes, he's an old man, and he accidentally shit himself.
I'm a lot younger
He sharded
than him,
himself
I'm worried
in the past.
about my singles.
He sharded himself in the past. Jim Ross has talked about that, so...
Well, that's when he was was he trying to fart on her? See, we could be impugning him for something that was completely accidental. He was just trying to fart on her head.
See, we don't know. You're making a complete joke out of this because...
Pal, I think I sharted.
This is one of the wildest articles I've ever fucking seen. Like, every paragraph, it just gets crazier and crazier.
Well, in the Wall Street Journal, not maybe in Penthouse or Hustler Forum or whatever the fuck, but in the Wall Street Journal, I believe they've broken some ground here. And there's a picture, oh my God. There's a picture of Vince after a match that he's had, his hand is being held up by one of the fucking referees, and it's poor Rudy Charles is the referee. Goddamn nicest guy in the world. And he gets his picture in the Wall Street Journal in a story connected to head shitting.
Yeah, but look at the face he's making there. It's kind of, I don't approve of you, sir.
Yes, and he's even pointing at Vince like, This man is not a friend of mine.
This man is a perv. Jeez. And there was that old story at what was it? Was it a tanning salon or a massage parlor in Florida? It was a tanning salon, right?
Tanning salon, yes.
Man, there's all these, man.
But no, and again, I'm telling you, I've known people in wrestling that I would have felt comfortable with talking to, exchanging good head shitting stories with. Vince has never been one of them.
Vince never showed you.
What the fuck this is going on?
Vince never showed you nude photos of a woman he said he was having an affair with?
No.
Did he ever talk about affairs with you?
No.
And you were around him a lot.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. And Bruce was around him more than I was for a longer period of time. And, we'd laugh about, Vince had one too many that night or some story like that, or back in the 80s when he took the finish in the strip club or whatever the fuck. But it was not like Vince is this pussy hound out fucking getting blowjobs behind a fucking dumpster. Maybe I would have lasted longer working for him if I'd have known this side of him. But no, I'm trying to...
And if this was part of the board investigation, I mean, just think about the chain of events, the things that happened. Stephanie, resigned from the company. Then they got her to come back when he was kind of out of it. Then she left again when he came back. The guys who were kicked off the board when Vince had his hostile takeover, whatever you want to call it, used his shares, used his power to take over. The guys who actually investigated him and said there's no way he should be involved in this at all anymore?
Yes, the one guy specifically was like, I don't want to be any part of this. And
yeah.
But that's the thing is that...
And this is only $3 million of that giant hush money pot.
Good Lord, what else can you do to somebody's head to pay him more than $3 million? I started hearing shit like this when they did the stock thing and they got the plane. Well, not shit like this, but Vince, having closed door meetings on the company plane with divas while Laurinaitis was at the bottom of the stairs or whatever. You started hearing shit like that, but no, I would have never imagined that Vince could have fucking been Bob Guccione in a fucking other life.
Guccione was never accused of anything like this.
Well, whoever wears the silk pajamas in that family, I guess it's Vince. Yeah.
Boy, this is...
So did we get to the bottom of this thing?
I mean, we got to the bottom of this article, to this page, but You know, if this story's come out now there's going to be more stories that are going to drop at some point. You have to wonder what TKO is going to do. Vince McMahon's in a position where he can leave the company. He can sell all of his shares and be gone. You have to wonder, I mean, he was just there ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange with everyone smiling, looking crazy. Now this story dropped. The timing of it is interesting.
Well, wait a minute. It says we didn't go all the way down to bottom because I just did. It says, share your thoughts. What lies ahead for Vince McMahon and WWE? There's comments. Is it too late for Netflix to back out? I find it sad that Grant was so psychologically abused that she continued to engage with this cretin. Another person, McMahon, what a sordid individual, a close second to Hunter Biden. You know, the Republicans have done one good thing. They made Hunter Biden seem cool. He got a bunch of money and spent it all on drugs and hookers.
He's a dirty wannabe. Fuck him.
This is a contract dispute. Pencil Neck stopped paying the agreed upon amount. Pencil Neck? One thing you can't say about Vince. The court should examine the contract and if valid, force him to pay what he promised. A grotesque man. What has he done to his face?
Well, the question, though, is if he violated the NDA agreement by halting payments after he made an initial down payment, which is, again, a Vince McMahon move throughout the years, does that mean she gets to keep the $1 million and it immediately kills the NDA?
Well, that's what the lawsuit also attempts to. She's obviously going to keep the $1 million, I would think, but they're saying that the NDA is invalid now because
who else has he stopped paying?
Well, and remember, didn't they say that Vince promised to reimburse the WWE for any expenses it incurred as a company for his private actions and payments, etc.? So if he didn't even pay him, is he getting paid back for money he didn't pay?
McDivitt's quoted this.
Whatever the fuck.
I thought McDivitt was retiring.
I don't think the corpse of Jerry McDivitt will be appearing in space court over Vince McMahon. Here's another comment, though. When they met, McMahon allegedly made promises of jobs, showered Grant with gifts, greeted her in his underwear. The guy says, it is at this point that any normal, sane person would have run away and terminated any possibility of a personal or professional relationship, thus avoiding several years of abuse and the need to collect $3 million. Clearly, this lady is mentally deficient, and McMahon took advantage of that. McMahon should be thoroughly investigated and prosecuted on each and every more detail, and the woman should have to return the $1 million she received.
Again, this is the expert in the comments here.
Yeah, the expert in the comments. The suit had also alleged gang rape. It's hard to imagine why wasn't the instance surfaced in previous suit. But if true, investigation and justice is required. Apparently, the Wall Street Journal goes all around the world these days.
And again, you live in the same building with this guy who's an incredibly powerful billionaire who's gotten away with everything, but you may not know that. Just an incredibly powerful guy. Starts bringing you into the office, texting you things like, I own you. You do what I tell you to do. You're young, maybe not in the best position mentally in your life. I can't say I could see it, but I would have to think that could start again a vicious cycle where you get into this weirdo Vince McMahon sex world. It may be hard to break that cycle. You see him at home, you see him at work.
There is no, that I can find, no statement in the story about what her previous line of work was or I don't know what her age is, actually. She looks like an attractive young lady, so if Vince is 78, she looks like she might be 30-ish.
The toughest thing will be any of the women in the business who have anything to say coming out. That's always the case for anything. That's the case right now with certain things popping up about NDAs. The toughest thing to do is if you want to live in this business and survive and make money in it, speaking up about anything like this. She's out of the wrestling business. This woman
Well,
Doesn't have to
but
worry
that's
about
it.
that.
She was not even really in the wrestling business. Vince just gave her a job in the office to do. It even says in the article here there was very little work for her to do. He just gave her a job to be in the office apparently for this. With his predator sense of smell, he probably met her and said, "Yeah, she will probably work out," and gave her a fake job to be in the office to do these things. But the question is, what is she? And she doesn't want to be in the wrestling business, and she was
No,
never
of
in it
course
before,
not.
and I assume she never wants to be in it again.
But you could sleep with someone without hiring them.
Well, yes, but what you said, she's out of the business. What I'm saying is that she was never really in it to begin with, and she doesn't care about her future in it. But I'm wondering what her background was as far as, was this a dream job? Is this a 10 times more money she'd ever made in her life? How was she living in this high rise to begin with? What motivated her to go through with as much of this? She had no other option unless it started out as an amicable deal and then went south or whatever. Maybe with the head shitting. I don't know.
You don't know. Again, at some point he introduced Laurinaitis into the mix.
And right there, that shows she's a most understanding young lady. It's not like he was introducing fucking Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, more like fucking the Fart Break Kid, John Laurinaitis.
Boy, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see the reaction of Brock now. Gee.
Yeah, that might be news in Brock's house.
Or maybe it isn't. Who knows? So someone else is making you these videos now.
I'm sure it's something that can be worked through, considering everybody's, background. But at the same time, it probably wasn't good breakfast conversation. Who pissed in your post toasties this morning?
And we thought Vince had an unhealthy relationship with Shawn Michaels when he was the top guy. Jesus.
Well, yeah, that's again, that is not the Vince McMahon that I ever envisioned, nor was that the Titan Tower I was working in. I'll tell you what, maybe they took it to heart. They said, Cornette always hated to come to this fucking office, said he couldn't wait to get out of here. We got to make it more fun to come to work.
Again,
that's what they were trying to do.
You're focusing on like the fun aspect. This woman sounds like she was tortured by these guys. You can't really say fun.
No, I'm talking about for the other people.
Yeah, I don't
know what her motivation was. I can understand an incident or two incidents. I don't know about constant head shitting and video pissing if you weren't in on the fucking deal. And again,
that's the thing. When he says make a video for Brock of you pissing, you could absolutely say no. Like, this is a step too far. This is a step too far. What am I, Tessa Blanchard? This is a step too far.
Come on.
I'm kidding.
That was never proven either. But that's what I'm saying. And because she's.
But she used the word restrain with the thing with her and Laurinaitis and Vince in the office. So we don't know what the word restrain is a different word than it was something I did and I regret after the fact. Restrain.
Well, no, that's a thing, Brian. I'm sorry. That's a thing you can actually ask to have done, I'd like to hear how exactly this whole fucking thing came about before I pass judgment on either the head shitter or the head shitty or the head holder. And I guess if it was her head that got shit on and Vince that shit on it, was Laurinaitis the head holder?
All those years when you heard about Vince that he was working all day and night, he was always at the office, always doing things. Maybe not as perverse as he is now as an old man who may have, due to multiple concussions, CTE or something. But do you think like all those years ago in the 90s when you guys went home and Linda went home, that there was this kind of shit going on in the office?
No, well, Linda came home and then we'd go home. That was the thing. We waited for Linda because as soon as Linda got home from the office, Bruce and I and whoever could fucking leave Vince's house.
Would Vince leave Vince's house? Was Vince going to the office after that?
No, it was 8:00 at fucking night. He was going to the office the next morning, but To me, the Vince that I got the impression of was the genetic jackhammer the elbow and the ribs, like, the white cotton panties type of Vince, right? Not, the Penthouse Forum Vince, not the goddamn, Rob Black XPW Vince. I'd not seen that. Didn't get that vibe at all. Would have thought that he would have been whistling Stranger in Paradise if you brought up such a things as that to him. He's always had the, toilet humor, sense of humor thing, and the elbow and the ribs about, the women, and look at her, and
The toilet humor, sense of humor. It was never going to take a shit on someone's head.
Well, that's what I was about to say, but they never actually crashed together and combined. There was never a mashup there. It was always kind of separate subjects. He went there, boy, look at her. I'd like to take a shit on her skull. That never. I don't know.
I mean, the fact that he did that and then Brock's asking for piss videos, is there like some kind of fucking Illuminati amongst defecation and urination loving freaks?
I don't know. You would think that Gunther would be the one you'd have to watch out for.
Why is that?
Those dadgum Germans, you know what goes on over there.
He's not German.
Well, he's Austrian, he's German, he's Czechoslovakian, he's something.
Leave him alone. Why bring a great wrestler into this conversation about perverted activity?
Well, you go to a goddamn good German dildo store in Stuttgart or Hamburg and see what they have on the shelf.
I'm an American businessman visiting. Do you have the Ludwig Borga? Oh, you don't call it that? I mean the Penetrator 3. Do you have the Junkyard Dog? That's
Do you have 3 Fraulines in 1 cup?
Do you have the Lanny Poffo? The Lanny Poffo. It's very flexible.
Why does Lanny keep being? He was an amateur compared to all this stuff.
I hate to laugh about any of this, but the idea of Vince McMahon's naming his dildo, the fact that he has a dildo collection, and hopefully he cleans them. The fact he has a dildo collection and he names them after wrestlers. That's crazy. Are they current wrestlers or the wrestlers of his youth? Is it like, here's Dr. Jerry.
Here's the Dr. Jerry Graham is the one that brings you home, baby.
Wow. Well,
so the Diddlator Mach 3 becomes the Bret the Hitman Hart.
I don't think he would use that because he doesn't like Bret. Well, he didn't like Bret for a number of years.
Well, it depends on where he's putting it. If you didn't like somebody, here, I'll show you where I'm going to stick you.
Here's the Captain Lou. The Captain Lou.
The Captain. The Captain Lou probably couldn't get hard because it had been drinking too long.
Batten down the hatches. I've got the Moondog. All right, well, we're having too much fun with this sick and sordid story.
Don't let your children read the Wall Street Journal, folks. It's smut. It's filth. Read something clean like the National Enquirer.
It's the news as it happened, and we will stay on top of this story. Again, it's happening as we are recording, so we're talking about it here.
We're going to stay on top of it rather than getting underneath it, because that's in the danger zone.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap the show up in a second. We had other things we were going to talk about, like AEW bringing back their rankings, but Vince McMahon and his toilet humor took over the show this week. Perhaps you're someone who has, I don't even know how we would go anywhere, experienced any sort of defecation to the head.
Yes, let me just say this. If you feel that life or a big evil corporation or any entity has shit on your head, there's only one person that you can possibly call to clean that poop off your dome.
Call Stephen P. News. If you need to sue. An outlaw mud show or two. He'll sue their ass.
He'll sue their ass. Literally.
He'll sue their ass. Whether it's a mud show or a shit show.
Or an ass shitting on your head.
Or an ass shitting on your head. Another fine product from Uranus. Let me just say that if Stephen P. knew, if he'd have been there, if she'd have known this young lady if she'd have known how to contact Stephen P. New, he could have got her $3 million just for the underwear hugs. I can't imagine what kind of payoff that Stephen P. New could have got this woman after she'd had her head pooped on. So if people are coming up to you in your normal daily life, ladies and gentlemen, and saying, that's a fine head you've got there for me to poop on, then you need to call Stephen P. New and he'll get you some real money and he'll make sure that the deadbeats and the reprobates pay you, not just a down payment, but all the way through the term of the contract, or elsewise you will be represented by a legal animal that will leave no meat on your opponent's bones. Stephen P. New at newlawoffice.com, 877-50-STEVE. No shitheads allowed.
He won't defend the shitheads, or he's against the shitters on the...
He's it's kind of a gray area there. Now, if you got if you're a shithead, he won't defend you. But if you got your head shit on by some other shithead, he will defend you against the shithead that shitted on your head.
I mean, it's amazing too. He like the Kiss My Ass Club. Everything, and now he's like just sharding. Oh, again, we don't know if it was a purposeful thing, like I get off on shitting on people. Or
well,
if
here's
it was,
the other thing.
I can't make it to the toilet, I'm old as fuck.
Yeah, but here's the other thing now. If it was Laurinaitis that was the other party, was Laurinaitis given a heads up that was going to happen and he was fine with being conjoined at the other side of the thing? Or was he given an opportunity to back up 8 or 10 feet?
Watch for the shit spot.
Watch the shit, John. Maybe he just gave him the office. You know, the little Iggy on the wrist, like he's quit, like, here, it's coming.
Well, before we get out of here, let's just end with this question. What do you think they're going to do? Do you just continue on with everything with Vince making appearances every now and then like he did at the stock exchange, or do you use this as a way to force him out?
Well, John Laurinaitis has pretty much become Claude Rains, the Invisible Man, to the world at large these days, right? Of course, he's got plenty of money from all of his various stock scams and et cetera. And I assume we haven't heard anything. I assume he's still happily conjoined legally to the Bella's mama. So Vince has been the visible one. And I don't know if they can... His stock is able to be sold at any time, and they revealed that was by his asking, but it may have been by their preference that he asked for that to be that way in case, because they've known some of these descriptions, obviously. So if in case this came out any further, or anything came out any further that really stunk, that maybe that he could cash out and buy an island in the Pacific where he could have a harem of native dancing girls. But I would imagine that even if he doesn't divest himself of any of his financial ownings in the company, that he won't be standing front and center ringing the bell for the New York Stock Exchange for the next little while at least. I would suggest a low laying for Vince while all the shit that hits the fan blows over.
It has to be tough to date after something like this gets out. You know, like the first date, you start thinking about the other person. She knows right away, this guy's going to want to shit on me.
Well, yeah, but then it could go the other way also, because it could be like that Seinfeld episode where...
Which episode was that?
Well, Jerry accidentally knocked his... You didn't see the head shitting episode? No. That was why Kramer almost got in trouble first. No, Jerry knocks his girlfriend's toothbrush into the toilet by accident and gets it out. And before he can stop her, she uses it, not knowing that has happened. And now he can never kiss her again. So there's something in there somewhere. I was going with that, but we got distracted. And there's a correlation that can be drawn.
There's something there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the drive-thru. We had other things, but we have... covered the breaking news several times, traveling back and forth. Back into a silent cinema, apparently. We'll be back on the experience in a few days. Seems like we're always doing something.